Welcome to the Roeland podcast. I am your host, Ty Young. Also across from me is another host, Roel Navarrete.
Hi.
And our special guest for today is none other than Megan Hoffman.
Hi, everybody.
Megan Hoffman is international.
I
She
am.
recently has came back from Denmark, and she's also hosted a Danish foreign exchange student at her own home. At the high school, Megan is a fellow senior with us. She's involved with the music program, varsity show choir. Are you still doing band?
I
We
don't
were
know.
thinking about that.
I don't know.
We'll get back to that. She's done cheer, and are you doing
I'm doing
dance?
dance too
You're
this
doing
year.
dance, yeah.
That's hype.
Big changes.
So Megan Hoffman, watch out next year, making moves locally. So let's start controversial band.
Controversial. Okay, band.
Okay.
Well, see, I don't know about band because, like, all my friends quit band. Are you guys
Right.
still doing band?
I'm still doing
He-
it.
I mean,
oh, yeah, you're drum
major.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Mine is if I had a contract right here and I'd assign it, I'm waiting for it because I don't know either.
and, like, also because I don't know if I'm going to have room in my schedule because I have to make up for classes I missed while I was in Denmark.
Oh.
So, like,
What
I
did
might
that-
not have room.
What did your classes in Denmark not cover?
They didn't cover. Well, the ones I guess I needed would be like my PE class, and then also a
Oh, right.
communications class. And I think my PE class should work, but I got a really bad grade in that, so I don't know. And I don't know about my communications class either.
Mhm.
Like I was thinking I could use Danish, but we'll see. I don't know. My grade in Danish wasn't that good either.
Did you? Can you say? You probably get this like every question, but could you say a small statement in Danish?
Hej, jeg hedder Megan. Jeg er 16 år gammel, og jeg kommer fra USA.
That's pretty good.
Thank
That's
you.
really good. That's. I mean, if you just said that, I'd think you're fluent.
Yeah, I'm so fluent.
So band is a to be determined.
It's to be determined.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Johnson really wants me to.
Oh,
Cause
yeah.
he
Of course.
he emailed me once and was like, make sure you sign up for a band, and I
Oh,
was like,
yikes.
we'll
Is
see.
being like a. Are you thinking about being a drum major? Because I know you've had siblings.
I would love to do that, but I think I'm too old now. Cause like he
Hmm.
always takes a new junior.
That's true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not. I mean, if you did know, you probably wouldn't have liberty to say. But who would you want to be your co-host with you?
Well, if freshmen could do it, I'd say Nolan Marlette. I think
Yes.
he's good.
Yeah, I mean he's passionate.
He-
I mean,
he's very
for a while,
musically adept.
everywhere I like
He'd be
everyone
practicing
everyone
all the
claps.
time.
Nolan.
no one.
Yeah,
And he
Uh,
will get people's attention too. So like,
for sure.
Yeah.
He got a loud voice.
Yeah.
But I feel like Johnson will keep up the tradition
yeah, I
of
think he will.
sophomore. I think the only reason he picked me after my first year was because I was gonna be a junior.
Yeah.
So
And
it was
like
kind
nobody
of an
else really
exception.
auditioned in our grade.
Yeah,
So
the only people were like Connor Kelly,
Connor.
and,
I'm
and Connor
Tina
quit.
Rowe,
yeah,
and
I'm surprised Max didn't go for a drum major.
Mhm.
Max
Yeah.
didn't do band that year,
Oh
though.
right,
I
yeah.
think he was very done at that point. I mean,
And then he passed on the torch down to Gene Looters. And he's been making moves ever since.
Gene at a concert did really
Oh
bad
my,
once.
yeah. Gene's
What?
the first concert Gene was at. And in case for any listeners who don't know who Gene Looters is, he's a very eccentric saxophonist,
Very
to say the least. During one of the performances, his first one, we've been preparing this for for the beginning of third quarter,
and it sounded good.
and it was going good, yeah.
It was really good.
But right on the concert, Gene wouldn't play very loud until this concert. So when the concert finally rolls around, I would be behind Gene, and I could just hear it from me, just like his loud screeching saxophone.
It was. I think he like decided. I think maybe he puts it off, right?
Yeah,
And
he was
on
saving his
practices,
power.
And then like concert, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna really play loud
He was going
now
full
this
force.
is for real. This is for real." But it sounded horrible. It sounded like
hopefully Gene's not watching this.
I don't think he does. I don't think he has the
Gene-
attention span to watch
Gene,
it.
if you're listening, I believe in you. You can
Yeah.
get better.
You'll get better.
Maybe by senior year he'll be really good.
Mm-hmm.
So when Megan came back, actually, I was on Snapchat. I was watching some movie, and I was like, I slide up and I look around, the snap map, looking at international stories because sometimes it's kind of funny. You'll go to like the Middle East and tap on like
Yeah.
the glowy things, and you'll see just
You'll
like
see some
something
weird
funny.
things.
You'll see something funny, and then also just like yeah, and I saw like on the I don't know what it is, but there's a tab where you can see where people have traveled, and that there was like a dot on that, and I looked at it, and I just saw like Megan came from Europe to New York. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah,
Megan's
I
back.
didn't tell like anybody. I was like, I'm just gonna
And like,
surprise.
yeah, I was like, whoa, hey Megan, glad to see you're back. And I was also thinking like this is like in the midst of the shutdown getting real.
Yeah.
Bad.
And I was thinking like I wonder what New York looks there. I told her to make a vlog out of it.
Yeah, I really wanted to, but like.
That's too much. I tried to make a vlog when I went to Georgia, and that was like I just wanted to
Well,
like
no,
relax.
like I totally would have made a vlog, but in New York they wouldn't let me check my bags for like 4 hours, so I had two
Oh, yeah.
suitcases and like a backpack, and I didn't even have space to hold my phone, and I didn't want to leave all my things, so like I couldn't do it, but I really wanted to.
I think Megan was maybe one of our first people that we would have had for guests,
Uh-huh.
Oh,
but
really?
and then we got Connor and Whitney and then Holly.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate with our library of guests. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the people we have upcoming with Connor Freetag, and then we got
Connor
Dawson.
Freetag.
Yep, and then we have Dawson Holes and Dawson Sadoff,
Sadoff?
and then we have a
That's an iconic duo.
We have
we have a special guest
we have
for
a
episode
very
9.
Can I
special
know
guest.
who it is?
Oh, maybe off camera.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
want to make a
Yeah.
teaser.
He's an eccentric character. For
He's
sure.
okay.
So, just take me through like what was it? So you're in Denmark. You hear news about. So just tell me like where were you when you first hear about Corona in China? Because
I mean,
we could tell you we were just in our classrooms laughing about it.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was kind of the same in Denmark. We were just kind of like, oh, wow, it's all the way over in China.
Yeah.
And then I started to see exchange students from China getting sent home, and I was like,
Oh gosh.
okay, well, I mean, like, I'm in Denmark, it's pretty small, so, like, we're fine. And I was still making Corona jokes all the time. I even said, like, yeah, like, it would be kind of fun if I got sent home for Corona. Like, I would get so much attention. But then, like, I can't see anybody anyway, and then
Yeah.
it really sucked. But, yeah, I was just in my town. I lived in Aalborg, and that's, like, in the north part of
Yeah.
Denmark. And I guess I started to, like, hear about it a little bit, like that it first reached my city, I think. And then I was at dance when I learned that, like, they shut down all the schools in Denmark. And then I was at that point kind of like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be here for much longer.
Mhm.
Oh
But
man.
I would have stayed if I could have, because, like, I don't care if I get stuck in the country. Like, yeah. But my parents were like, Megan, you should probably come home. And I was like, oh.
And so did you have to go through like so with the travel ban? I think with Europe, did you have to go through some loops and to get back to America?
A little bit, like, but nothing terrible. I
Yeah.
think one of my flights got canceled while I was, like, flying overseas from, like, London to New York. And apparently
Oh,
one of
yeah.
my flights got, like, canceled, so I would have just been stuck in New York. But then my parents were, like, looking and they found another one. But yeah, a lot of flights had
Oh,
gotten,
wow.
like, canceled and stuff. That was weird.
Were you
but-
just going to the airports by yourself, or did you have?
Yeah.
What
Wow.
was it
myself.
like flying by yourself?
It was, I mean, I did it when I came there, and it wasn't that bad. Like, it's kind of fun. It's kind of
Yeah.
a vibe, you
Mhm.
know? Just, like, I felt so, like, professional just, like, traveling by myself. But then when I came back, the airports were so empty, and there were, like, no stores
Oh
open.
no! Right.
So it
Oh.
was just weird. But I guess that's something not a lot of people will get to experience. So,
Right.
Mhm.
like, New York airport just, like, dead silent. There was, like, nobody there. It was
That's a good
so
story.
weird. Yeah, it was so weird.
And then you stayed with Marie, right?
Just for one day.
Oh yeah. Who was your host family?
Well, it changed. Like, at the start, I lived with a family, but it didn't go that great. So
Oh,
I
right.
changed, like, into one of my friends with school, and they are the Mathiasen family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did they react when, like you said, like when you had to make your early departure?
I mean, I know that they were really sad for me, but they also thought that, like, what my parents wanted was best.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, if it was my kid, I would probably do the same thing. So they were, like, sad for me, but they understood why
Mm-hmm.
I had to, I guess.
Yeah.
I talked to you briefly about just the different cultures in Denmark and America. Like, you can just like turn on the TV and you get a sense of what America is like, just
Yeah.
very dramatic.
So many people there had like so many assumptions about America that they told me, and it was pretty funny.
What's the
give
best
some
one?
examples, yeah.
Well, first off, pretty much like within the first 5 minutes, somebody meant me. Meant me. My English still isn't good, but wait, no, it is met me. I don't.
It's met, I think.
Met. Okay.
Met?
Within
Met?
the first 5 minutes, somebody met me. They would just be like, "So, do you like Trump?" And I'd be like,
Oh,
yeah.
"Gosh." And then it was like something. The weirdest thing I probably heard was like somebody across the room was reading a BuzzFeed article, and they're like, "Wow, Americans don't wash their legs," and I was like, "What?"
What?
Okay.
What's the Danish perspective on Trump?
Oh,
Because it varies from like country to country. I've noticed.
Yeah, so like Danish people, they all told me that they're just like, yeah, we really, really hate Trump,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh,
that's
man.
like nothing on. I mean, that's not based on my opinion or anything, but like
Yeah.
what they thought is that they all hated Trump, but they loved Obama. So they like
How-
always wanted to know what I thought about it, and I
What-
was like,
How does the news get? So I mean, is the news then from Denmark like more left-leaning focus, and they like translate
so.
on a more left-leaning
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so because that's their kind of like the way their
the pol-
government is.
Yeah, because a lot of times in America, especially with the Democratic primary and Bernie Sanders, a lot of socialism is talked about, and a lot of like the countries in Europe are talked a lot about how socialism
Yeah,
works
I know
there.
Bernie talked about a lot about Denmark
Mhm.
and stuff.
Do the Danish people know about Bernie Sanders? Or
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do. I think they actually all really like wanted Bernie to be the next president.
right?
Huh.
Especially because he talked about Denmark so much, and they were like, "Yeah, we like him. Like he likes our country." So
Mhm. How much of the social policies that Bernie are implemented in Denmark, like let's say like a $15. What's the minimum wage in
that is
Denmark?
a great question. I don't know, but I know that they pay like a lot
I know
in
college
taxes.
is free. Yeah,
And
that's
college
what,
is free.
that's what I hear.
And all healthcare is free, and they have a really good healthcare system, and yeah,
I
they
guess
actually get paid to go to college. So.
Yeah. I mean maybe it's just the stereotype, but I feel like anytime I guess any Europeans are presented, especially like Denmark, they're all presented as a very wealthy.
Yeah.
Like you never see,
Yeah.
you never hear or see. I guess that is like the
Yeah,
presentation
I
they
think
want.
something I heard about Denmark is like the middle class is very big, and I think that's the way you want it.
Yeah,
Is
no,
for,
Yeah.
like,
you want a good healthy middle class.
So there were like not many homeless people or anything. It
Wow.
was like
Is it clean in like Denmark?
it's so
Super clean. Oh
and
yeah.
they they most people don't really have their own car, or maybe they just have like one per family. So like most people bike to school, and then like a lot of people took the bus to school.
I see
So-
that like sorry, but I see that like electric cars are a big thing in Denmark too. Like there was like
Yeah.
some Tesla. I follow on Tesla news, and they had like this big status report, and they had like I don't know if it was Denmark, but they had Tesla as a big car manufacturer, like the car that a lot of people there bought for Teslas and electric cars.
I don't know how many Teslas I saw there, but I know that their buses, like a lot of them were either like carbon neutral or they didn't use.
That's very cool.
They didn't send off any emissions.
How
So,
big is the population in Denmark?
I think it's like 2.5 million, but that could be totally wrong. Or maybe
Yeah,
that's how
compared
many
to, like-
people live in Copenhagen. I think their population is like 5 million.
That gets me curious now, because I mean, I'd love to see like the way that's all described. I'd love to live in a place like Denmark or somewhere like a small country, or like not small but like not so much like America, because like sometimes I've thought about retiring in a place like Switzerland and hanging out
Yeah.
in somewhere low key, somewhere that's not always like so divided. Like you always hear on the news some kind of like politics and like big drama regarding it, and some like the other day I think was listening, or I was on Twitter looking at like news regarding politics. I was like, "Ugh, if I could just like go away to a remote island and not hear about something about Joe Biden or Donald Trump for one day, I'd love that."
But recently it hasn't been on the news as much because it's just been
It's all
Corona.
Yeah, Corona.
And I'm sick of hearing about Corona. I'm like, I'm done.
I think I saw somewhere, or I was talking to someone. I think it was Max. Max was talking about how he felt like the news of Corona has been going down, and how like people were saying that there was this like big spike or like the worst week we were gonna have, and we haven't heard much about it. And I kind of find that true. I haven't heard about this the bad week unless it is happening and I'm just not noticing it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but I'm just bored of it. I'm like,
Oh,
I need
yeah.
something new.
I've just been occupying my time with going outside, taking walks on trails, and
Yeah. I've been going to the track with my sister. I don't run and I don't like going outside, but I've been like, I need to get out of my house.
oh yeah, me
so
too.
I've been going to the track.
What I hate about online class is I'm sitting there in this like uncomfortable chair and I have this position on the computer, and if I'm staring into the computer for so many hours, I'm sick of it. I need to go outside, or else I would just like go insane.
Yeah, it was really weird because like I was only in Denmark for like 2 weeks during the shutdown, and then I did online school, and I told myself when I came back that I would continue doing it, but it's been like 3 weeks. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm like, no.
Is it mandatory?
I don't know if it's mandatory for me because I kind of like I don't need all my classes there anyway, so I'm like,
Right.
why would I do a social sciences class if I don't even need it? But like I know it's mandatory for Danish to do an online school.
Yeah. How that's kind of interesting to think about how all that credit is going to transfer from like a different like way different school system than how are you going to have to go to talk to your counselors and like help them figure it out?
Yeah, I talked to Post and Suitor before I left, and they were just like, Megan, we don't actually know like if it's gonna transfer, and I was kind of just like, yeah, I'm a risk taker, so like let's just go.
Is there like a middleman that like you had to do the foreign exchange program with to
a middleman
like a program that's organized for?
Oh yeah.
Would they help you out with that? Talk to your.
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
But like the experience I had with my program, I don't think it was too great. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, not in my experience.
You care to.
Oh well, just like the first host family they placed me with, like I can talk more about that if you want me to. But
oh yeah, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, but just like the things I didn't really like was like the host family they placed me with, and also they just weren't like that good at making sure I had the things I needed. Like before I left, they promised that they would like give me a laptop and stuff, and that didn't happen. And then because you need laptops for school there, like you have to bring your own, and then I didn't get one, and then I had to figure that out, and then I ended up like buying one there, and then I feel like they just weren't very good at like making sure their students were like having a good time, because I knew another student from the program, and she also like had a bad first host family, and like.
How many exchange students were at your school?
At my school there were like 6 or 7, which was a lot. I think normally they only have 2 or 3, so I was kind of lucky.
We had one German foreign exchange student this year, and then like
yeah, there's also that senior
Wasn't she from Slovakia?
Slovakia, yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I didn't know any.
Because my family was contacted about hosting her, but we were like, well, I'm going to Denmark, so.
Yeah. She was a part of Black Diamond Dancers, and she was really good. Like apparently her whole life she was dancing, and they were very hardcore about it. And I heard that like what she liked about living in America was that it was more chill than living in like the country that she was from, because it would just be constant. I don't know if you've seen it in those like stereotypical movies, but they're like people from these European countries, all they'll have to do is like dance for 8 hours on end, and like their instructor is very hard on them.
Yeah, I think that's true. I saw a video of her dancing, and I was like, yeah, she's good. But I guess I do think America's more chill, but I don't think Denmark is as much like making people do things. I don't know if that makes sense. Like you said, dancing for 8 hours, but I think they're like America's more chill. Like, for instance, I can go to Walmart in my pajamas, and nobody's gonna care, but if I just, like, walk down the street in Denmark, everybody's just so, like, dressed nicely, and I'm like...
I wonder how that happens. Just, like, the difference in being able to go to Walmart in your pajamas and just going... Or like, having another culture where, like, it's... Everyone, like, frowns upon you for doing it.
Yeah, I feel like when exchange students come to here, they're probably just, like... Why is everybody just so dressed down?
Right. I talked to you before. You said that there was like a personality change from American people and like Danish people too. Like,
Yeah,
uh, just elaborate on that.
I think Americans tend to be more open. I mean, like in my experience, for example, the exchange students that come to our school, everybody's really curious in them,
Yeah.
and they're just like say something in their language and like they want to talk to them a lot, but then people aren't really the same way there. I think they're more shy and they're just like fine with the friends they have and they don't really want to talk to new people and they're like I think they're kind of scared that like a new person is going to like judge them or something.
Right.
So I just wish that like people would have been a little bit more open cuz I always had to start the conversation.
Oh yeah.
And that's so like awkward when I walk up to somebody and I start speaking English and they're like why? Why? Or I would try speaking Danish and then they'd be like, what are you saying? So, yeah.
um. So, you said that like, would you say that like Danish people are just um, they're more reserved than like American
Yeah, they're more
people.
reserved, and I think Americans, like, we each have our own, like, well, Danish people have their own personality too, but I
Yeah.
think, like, our personalities shine a bit more, and we're, like, more comfortable, like,
Yeah.
maybe, like, not always being super normal. We'll, like, be more of ourselves.
Yeah.
And Danish people, they all dress the same way, like, and it's kind of a lot of people who aren't from Denmark notices everybody there just wears all black because they like don't
Mhm.
want to stand out. There's like
Yeah.
no color, and it was like so weird. I was walking up to school on the first day, and there's just like a flock of just like people dressed
Just
entirely in black, and I'm like, okay.
Did you adapt to it?
I
you
did.
wear black?
I started noticing myself like wearing all black, and I was like, okay, this is weird. And then one day I remember thinking I like put on something colorful, and I was like, this is too much color. And then I was like, wait, why did I just think that's too much color? Like that's so weird. Because I never would have thought that here. But I was
Right.
like, no, this shirt is just too bright.
Wow.
It was
Oh.
weird.
So like, has Denmark? How much like as a person do you think has Denmark changed you?
I don't know. I feel like I'm still like at the core I'm still myself, you know.
Right. Right.
But I
Right.
think um I don't know. I actually don't feel like I've changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like some things about me maybe, but no. I'm still pretty much the same.
Just Megan Hoffman.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I went, I feel like whenever when I travel personally, it's not like I'm still like fundamentally me, but
Mm.
there's something like I kind of it's as if my view has been broadened and like there's more
Yeah,
to
it for sure like broadened my view of like the way I think about things is different.
yeah.
But I think like my personality is pretty much the same. And
Megan, we had Connor Kelly come on a couple episodes ago. We were talking about St. Paul.
St. Paul's. Sorry, Roel.
Yeah,
Probably
he's
feeling
a,
left
he's a
out
St.
right
John.
That's how I always feel whenever people like mention elementary schools, because the only people I can talk about it with is Will Reimer and Nick Witulski.
Nick Witulski. Mm.
With Connor, I was telling him about like all the different people we had in our like the people who came and went from our school. So like we had Faith and Rachel. You remember
Yes.
them?
Yeah.
We had even I had a friend in first grade named Tristan.
Tristan.
Yeah.
I
and
love Tristan.
I never so I think I talked to Caitlin Church about Tristan once and how like she was trying to find him. And again, we cannot find Tristan. We've looked all over social media, and there's no Tristan because I remember it was Tristan Jenkins, but there's no trace of him anywhere like on Instagram
That's
or
so
Facebook.
Weird.
Right?
I want to find Tristan. When I go home, I'm gonna look for Tristan now.
Yeah, I tried my best to look for him, and I'm pretty sure, like I visited the house they lived in Omaha, like a long time ago, but I think they've moved since then.
Yeah, probably.
So, they're kind of like off the radar. I have no idea.
Like Grayson, and then like
Oh, Grayson, yeah. I knew her in preschool. Yeah.
in preschool.
She added me recently on Snapchat.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, who?
I
who
followed
are you?
Rachel Dye on Instagram, but I
Oh,
couldn't
really?
find Faith. Yeah.
How much has she changed?
I don't know. She still has long brown hair. I feel like she still looks kind of the same.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Like Connor, you look at Connor from elementary and now he's like, I mean,
Yeah.
he looks older, but he doesn't really
Yeah,
change.
he's
Yeah.
pretty much looked the same his whole life.
Yeah. And then
John Jansen.
Yeah, I knew
The
him.
classic John Jansen.
Oh man, from preschool, and then when I went to Lewiston for middle school, yeah, that was the only person I really knew from
Mhm.
middle school or from elementary school. So we kind of like stuck together, and then we made friends with
So
other
why
people.
did you like decide to go to Lewiston?
Wasn't my choice.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's like I was given as much of a choice as like a toddler is given when like their parents explain something to them. You know what I mean? So like I was pretty much presented in the way where like this was like the best possible way for me because my dad went to Beatrice High School and he didn't like his time there. He didn't like Beatrice, and also my mom and dad also had this thought that like Beatrice High School is so big. That was a big thing they always talked about. They always talked about how Beatrice High School is so big, and in my little elementary mind, I imagined Beatrice High School as kind of like that like High School Musical or like a college campus where there's just all these seas of people walking in the hallways.
Yeah.
So I was intimidated by that, a little bit of fear mongering. So I went to Lewiston under the assumption that it's smaller, and I guess even nicer and not as strict. And then as I got older, and like I had my own train of thought and not my own parents' thought, I kind of thought that, hey, Lewiston is not really my future because here it's a very agriculture based school, as opposed to like somewhere in Beatrice. You have show choir, you have concert choir, you have a marching
A lot
band.
more options,
Right.
probably.
Something where I was always interested in performing arts because the theater at the time, that was my only touch with Beatrice people. That's how I met like Matt, John, Braden Cook, McKenna Mayfield, right? And I met all those upperclassmen. Even like Adam Churchman, Nathan Spilker, yeah. And it's
the OGs.
And yeah, you did community players too with me. Beauty and the Beast, right?
Yeah, you were the Beast.
Uh-huh.
It was a good time.
What year did you stop? Because there's a musical where you didn't do it.
No, I stopped after 8th grade. But I wasn't able to like do the summer one my freshman year because I was like on vacation or something.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
joined
where we
in
did.
7th grade, so I only did it for like a year and a half.
I think the only people in our class was you, me, and Sarah.
Yeah.
And then Buddy Schwartz.
Buddy Schwartz.
I forgot about.
Yeah,
Buddy.
Because Lexi did theater.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I think it was. We had only 4 people in our entire class ever do it, whereas like the class above us had.
There were so many.
So many, yeah. That was like the main dominant, and the only reason we kept on going was not because of our class, was all the like Nolan's class, and there was Trey Bear Nolan, McKenna Bloom, and then Emmy. They all like carried the torch from there. Yeah. But yeah, did you like community players?
I did.
What was your experience?
I liked it because I really liked being on stage and performing, but I kind of felt like since I joined late, I didn't get as much of an opportunity as you guys.
Definitely,
like,
yeah.
They kind of always casted the same people for
roles, that is a common complaint that I agree with, yeah. It's very rare for someone that first does theater to get, it's kind of like, if you were to actually do like shows in New York, you would start off as like maybe commercials, and then you would get more on stage and musicals. And that was kind of how it worked in the theater, where like you started off with like some kind of ensemble role or something smaller, and then you would get something bigger and bigger as you went. It was very rare for one person to first enter community players and for them to get like a substantial role. Yeah, and then Emily Allen, she had a lead role I think for her first time in acting.
Did she?
Yeah, because we did Rumpelstiltskin, and I was Baby Bear. Matt Price was the detective, and then Emily Allen was the secretary to Matt Price. That was a very fun musical because I had 0 lines in that.
Really?
I had lines in it, but my whole presence was I was on stage the whole time with Matt Price and Emily Allen, and they'd be like, Baby Bear, because I was Baby Bear, and they were like, Baby Bear, what's your thoughts on this? And I would just wham, and then it was revealed that the culprit that they were looking for was Baby Bear. Baby Bear was like a 40-year-old man.
That's an epic twist.
dressed as Baby Bear, and at the very end, I had like this like super old voice. I was like, "Yeah, I could have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids," and then I got arrested. It was so fun.
I was really jealous because I remember I wanted to be in Rumpelstiltskin, and then
Mhm.
my first play there was Villain School.
I didn't like Rumple. I reacted in a way because I didn't like Villain School.
Mm.
Because, well, it was the cast of people. I didn't like myself either back then. And also just like, I don't know. It was just like, the play was fine.
Can we
I don't
talk
remember
about
it.
Ginger and Chase Through Time and Space?
Oh,
Thoughts
God.
on that play?
Oh. What were your thoughts? I want to hear you first.
I did not like it.
Really? Why?
I didn't. First off, one of my roles was an asteroid. Another one was being a plant. Me and Sarah Plyce, literally, it was like giant, like paper towel like tubes that were painted green, and we just had to stand in them. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that
It was
specifically.
literally like we were plants. And then
Oh,
at the beginning
really?
of the play, we also dressed up as old ladies. And there's a picture of me and Sarah.
Oh,
as old
I
ladies.
remember that. Yeah. I was a character named Sludge in that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think I even knew what I really was besides like kind of a contractor, I guess.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I did in that show was when there was a technical difficulty. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh my God. This is the story for acting up that gets told around and around, and every time the show Ginger and Chase gets brought up, this story gets told around. And so it was, I don't know, it was like either the second performance or something. I think it was the second performance, yeah, because it was a night show and it wasn't the opening night. And so for one of my scenes, I didn't have to go on stage because there was already a recording of me on the projector, and it was basically just like a hologram. They were talking to a hologram, but the projector went out. So I was on the projector and I was saying my lines like, "Oh, you have to do," and I cut out, like the whole thing goes black. And they bring it back, bring back the projector sometimes, but it would always die. So the stage managers look at me and they're like, "Ty, you need to get on stage. You need to get on stage." I'm like,
Oh, God.
"What? Why?"
I can imagine like Ty running back to me to be like, Ty, get on stage right now.
If people have ever seen me do a show at Community Players, when I get done with a stage, I go into like the green room and I'm super sweaty and I'm like, and I get on a chair and I'm like decompressed and like,
Do you have a sweat rag?
oh no, I didn't have a sweat, but okay, in Beauty and the Beast, oh my God, the outfit I was wearing was so like, it was heavy and it was like, it got hot, and under those stage lights, it gets really hot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm a big sweater too on top of that.
Yeah.
So I would get done with the dance, and then I'd go off, and Harrison James, she would put me intentionally by the fan, like right at, like my head is touching the fan,
My God.
and I would be cooling off, and I would finally be able to catch a breath, because in that musical, there was no sitting, and it was so chaotic.
There's no space. The
There was
dressing
no
rooms
space.
were like packed.
The main
Right.
characters had to dress in the workshop, which was
Yeah.
kind of chill in the end, because like I remember this one instance. It was John, Matt, myself, Connor Kiesel. We were all like chilling, like in our street clothes. We were lounging back, and we were just talking. And like it was before a tech rehearsal, and it was void of all kids, so there was no one to really bother us. But yeah, there were like 3 changing stations, and the main cast changing area was not always the main cast changing room, because it was one time like that's where the girls were to change, and I didn't know that at the time. So one time it was during like a rehearsal or a show. I had to get changed for this scene. I mean, because Beast has 10 different jackets. He has his Louis Vuitton jacket, his Gucci the blue ballroom jacket. So I'm changing it to jacket number 26. And I run in there because I feel I'm crunching on time.
Yeah, sweat pouring down.
And I go inside and I see all these girls in like their sports bras and all that. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I go out and like and then like some adult was waiting in there. Like they didn't stop me, and they're like, oh, sorry, Ty. Yeah, this happened. This change happens here. I'm like, I thought this was the main cast changing area, and so. Yeah, that was awkward.
But back to how you improvised in.
Oh, right. So let me get back to the Ginger and Chase story. So there I am. I'm just chilling because this is it's a medium role. I only had like a couple appearances in the first act, and then I had one appearance in the second act. So I was like chilling. I was like, okay, I'm done for the day. I could basically get changed in my street clothes. And then the stage managers look at me and they're like, Ty, you need to go on stage. The projector's out. I'm like, what? And all the kids, because there's a TV back there showing what's on stage, and they're like, Ty, you need to get backstage. I'm like, okay. And I run on stage, and I was thinking, how am I gonna improvise this? So I was like, okay, if I just pretend that I'm the projection, like doing what they were doing, I could get away with it. So I stand behind them and I act like the projection and I say all my lines. The scene goes well. People don't notice anything.
Wow.
I go off and I met with like, oh Ty, you did it, woo! And like all these little kids are praising me and like Tyler thanks me because if there wasn't that projection, and if I didn't remember my lines for that scene in particular, which would have been even worse. If I just walked on the stage and I didn't know any of my lines because I just thought, yeah, I got a projection, that's like, fine. I was a bit, because that would have been a big, I mean, granted, that's assuming that an 80-year-old grandma knows sci-fi. Because
what was happening in the scene even?
It was like, do you remember?
No, I don't remember that.
If I vaguely remember, it was like, so there was these two kids, Ginger and Chase, and like a ship, and I was basically selling out Ginger and Chase, and that's how Raquel Moore's character would have tracked down Ginger and Chase, was through my character. Yeah, so that would have been a big scene cut, but I mean that one it wouldn't be the first time a big scene was just like awkwardly
every acting up show.
Yeah. No, do you remember in Beauty and the Beast, Megan, when it was these narrators?
This is the most iconic one I know.
Oh yeah, in the opening of Act 2 with the wolves, and the narrators went on stage. Yeah.
And Tyler came into
the green room, and he was very, very mad.
He was very upset. Let's just say he was very upset. He said some things, and everybody was very scared.
I didn't get to. Okay, we can just like have like a series of bleep or like have music play during this.
So
Go ahead.
I can remember he just.
No, I remember this. So, okay, welcome back to the podcast. In case you were watching that scene of music or whatever, cut out whatever Roel does. Some explicit material was heard. You can hear it on the explicit Roeland channel.
$5 a month.
Yeah. I bet Tyler was, stressed. The stress that he has to go with doing kids theater, I bet is very tough. I mean, I'm not a very kid person.
No, I'm not either.
I think one of those nights that he was mad. I think I was talking to him once, or he was talking to someone. It was the night of election. It was election night, Hillary and Trump, and he was mad because of the results of that, and that was impartial to why he was he said that stuff to that one
really?
To Kate and Koo. Yeah.
Dang.
But no, Tyler he is a very intimidating figure. Throughout my middle school or my acting up life, I remember once he had basically a notepad, and he was writing down, and someone didn't say a line. He just slams on the ground. And if you're on stage,
I remember one time he threw all the things off the table.
Really?
He shoved all the papers off the table, the ones that the stage managers had made.
Oh yeah.
And he just whoop.
I don't remember.
I do.
Oh
I
god.
Remember it.
Oh, I remember that one instance that you were talking about of where he says everyone leave now, because I was impartial for him to being mad because I was I had quiz bowl sometime that week. And I was like, hey, yo, Tyler, I got quiz bowl. I won't be there that day.
and they make a big deal, you can't be gone during tech week.
Oh, God. And, well, It wasn't a tech week. It was just a rehearsal.
Oh.
And the only reason I got mad was because like everyone before me. So like there was like someone was like, hey, these I won't be there because we got banned. I won't be there because of track. And then I was like,
Oh,
hey,
no.
hey Tyler, hey Tyler, I got quiz ball. I won't be able to be there. And it's like,
No.
everyone leave, get out. And we're like,
Oh my
so,
god.
and I'm standing there like, so Tyler and I'm like, excused. I'm sorry.
I'm still a little bit scared of him, and I'm like a
Oh.
senior in high school now. Still a little scared.
Despite every scary story that someone has about Tyler, he's not that bad. Like
No.
he's as I stage manage, he doesn't get mad like at all anymore. Like he doesn't have reactions as great as he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'll see.
Are
Like
we gonna have to cut more of this out?
I don't-
About Tyler.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, yeah, because like as a student representative, I would hope Tyler does not watch
Yeah,
a
that's what I'm
podcast. Yeah,
saying.
no, I appreciate that. That reminds me though. So teachers in Denmark and teachers in Beatrice.
Denmark.
I was gonna say that. How strict are they?
I think the school there is actually a little bit more relaxed.
Really?
Like, and with teachers, you call them by their first name.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
dope.
It's, yeah, and it was, like, kind of weird, though, to call them by their first name, because, if you call teachers by their first name here, they're like, what did you just call me? Like,
Not with
You
Dave
can't.
Henning.
Yeah, not with Dave Henning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone calls him
everyone
Dave.
calls him Dave.
I remember when
It's
we
cool.
called Mr. Lojo Darren, he would, like, get so mad.
Yeah, calling him Darren.
I'm starting to get a little bit more like courageous with Johnson to the point where I call him AJ.
AJ.
Sometimes.
Does he mind?
I mean, he's just like
It's
he doesn't say
Roel.
anything.
I feel
yeah.
like
Yeah.
everybody probably loves Roel, and they're like,
Yeah,
I
you're
know
gonna-
why, but no one like, at least as I know of, has a disdain of me.
Student or just teachers?
Just like
Or in general?
yeah. in
Yeah, no,
general.
I don't think so either.
I think it's because I don't really make many like big scenes of myself.
I was thinking about a time of one personal person that you could hate, and I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, because
You-
I don't really hate. It's just, I mean I have a lot of like
Dislikes,
disliking,
but not
of
a
people.
hate.
Ty, do you have a cat?
I do have a cat.
I'm allergic to cats.
Oh,
no!
I've been feeling
I'm
it the whole
sorry.
But I didn't want to ask.
The first time I came in here, he had recently cleaned up the whole basement, and he didn't vacuum, and so there was so much dust in the air.
Yeah,
and I
no.
was sneezing,
Oh my
and like
gosh.
snot was running.
When
down.
I had to clean this
Yeah, I
basement,
might be sneezing a lot. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I mean, when I first cleaned this basement, I was like, I got upstairs and I was, I was coughing. I was like, what is wrong with me? And I was like, I just realized that there was all this dust in the basement that I hadn't realized. So I had to go back down there for round 2 with a surgical mask on, and I had to go sweep the whole thing and put it all in the storage room where I was subjected to more dust and centuries of bacteria probably.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because this place was dirty, like used as a storage
Storage
room
room
for, I
for
think,
many
like
years,
13
yeah.
years.
Until like I
And
was
now
like,
it's podcast room.
It's
Yeah,
podcast
room.
room.
We gotta spruce it up a bit.
We're gonna put a canvas and posters.
We even requested someone to paint the walls.
Yeah, we were
No
going
way.
to. I didn't get to.
You
But-
didn't send it?
I didn't send it.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
but no. Have you seen Maya Moran's Van Gogh?
Yes.
Yeah. So we
That's
were
so good.
we were like, if we could just get what would how much would it take for Maya Moran
To
to
paint,
paint a wall? Right. Because I would pay her because that is definitely work to be paid for.
It could be an international theme. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
what I was thinking.
Should we talk about our shirts? The
That's right,
international theme.
Yeah.
This is a common theme. We
Yeah.
don't talk about our theme until like the middle.
midway through.
So our theme for today is international.
Yeah.
Everyone here is wearing something they had got from another place, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I bought this in the Philippines. It has the Philippine country logo on it. It's actually child large. I don't know why I got a child large at the time. So like it fits me in like height, but like when it comes to like width, it's significantly like wider than me. Because I think it's meant for like a fat Filipino
fat
child.
Fat Filipino child.
Which there aren't many of in the Philippines, but
No.
I imagine. And
And
then
then me. Oh, this is my like my shirt from my Danish school, Aarhus.
Oh,
so it says Aarhus Gymnasium, and then on the back it says, don't know if I should show the back. It says "Vi går hinanden bedre," and that's like the school motto. It just means we make each other better. It's like
That's
Denmark's one school, one family.
Hashtag, what is it?
Hashtag one school, one family.
No, the Denmark motto.
Oh, vi går hinanden bedre.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to say that.
I probably am saying it really badly. Like, if there's a Danish person watching this, they're probably cringing.
I mean,
but like,
we're ignorant enough to
Yeah,
believe it.
it's
We're
like-
ignorant Americans.
And mine, although it's not from another country, it's from the country of Georgia. Yeah, the state. And I got it at Coke World, and I saw it. I'm like, wow, that's a cool hoodie. I picked it up and I take it, and everything in Coke World's overpriced. So this was like
Yeah.
$80 for
but have
a
you ever
hoodie.
visited China?
I haven't. 'Cause
Really?
my mom hasn't returned to China since she left.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, she's kind of. I don't want to use the word denounced, because that sounds like she just absolutely hates everything in China. But compared to like most people, like compared to most, like I want to just say this is exclusive to Asian immigrants, but I'm just going to use Asian immigrants as an example because my mom is. I feel like a lot of them, they still have they have some kind of ties to their heritage and their country, and they still visit it and go back to their country a whole lot. Whereas my mom, she does not talk to anyone in China. Still, she doesn't really talk
Not even
about
her
China.
family?
No, well, I mean her mom died recently,
Ooh.
yeah, and
Did she have any siblings? Oh wait, they had like a one child.
they had the one child policy, but I'm really not clear on that story. But my mom has a brother, so I have this uncle that I've never met.
Really? And
So-
does she not talk to?
He's totally excommunicated himself.
What?
So there is very limited communication. There's no communication with my mom in China
Did
anymore.
your mom ever consider speaking Chinese to you when you were growing up, so that you'd be bilingual?
No, because my mom's whole philosophy was that she, just like herself, she wanted to Americanize both of us,
Okay.
so then I wouldn't be confused about like my tradition or culture heritage. She wanted just to make me 100% American,
Mhm.
Americanized, which in the end I'm pretty thankful for, because I'm sure I would have probably I would have some kind of identity crisis in
Yeah.
elementary
Yeah.
school or middle school. I was thinking, what am I? You
Yeah.
know,
what I had.
I know Chinese, but I don't use it
You
at
had
all.
an identity crisis?
I was like, no, I never knew that I was different on like my skin color as
Same
a
here.
kid until like around 5th grade when people started mentioning. I'm like, oh shoot, I am different. Like I am different.
But have you lived here your whole life?
Yes, I have. It's only my parents that were born.
Do you
and raised
speak
there.
any of the languages?
I do
that
not.
they speak,
My parents
really?
really opposite of yours. They really wanted me to
learn it.
kind of learn
Yeah.
it, and they're very connected with the family there. And we go there we've gone there twice in my lifetime. But I mean, it's just there's no way I'm gonna be able to learn this language
But,
when no one else I know is.
Did they speak
able
it to
speak
you when you were younger?
Yeah, they would, and I'd be like, goo goo gaga. I don't know what's happening.
Can you understand some words or
I mean,
some sentences?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
I can.
What?
I just use psychology. I'll see the look on their faces, and then they'll start laughing, and I'll be like,
Nothing.
well, blah 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 blah, and I assume they're making fun of me.
One thing that I love about going with my mom though is when, for example, when we went to Georgia, we went into this Asian restaurant, and my mom went inside there, and the woman could recognize that my mom was Asian, and they would talk to her in Chinese. And then my mom replied in Chinese, like, do you speak Chinese? Yeah, I speak Chinese. And they had this long conversation in Chinese. And here's me. I'm like the surprise Yoda meme. And I'm like, I'm in complete awe, like, whoa.
I've been in that situation so many times. I'm eating in this Chinese buffet, stuffing my face with sugar, ropes, and then this random person will walk up and be like, they'll start speaking. Are you guys Filipino? And then they'll be like, yes. And then they'll speak on this hour-long rant about their times in the country, and I'm just trying to eat some rice.
You're like, I don't know what you're saying.
Oh,
But are you an only child?
No, I have an older sister.
So does she
Michaela.
speak?
No, she was also born here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
How old were your parents when they immigrated here?
Oh, I don't know. They didn't even meet in the Philippines. They met here. They met. They either met in California or in Nebraska.
My mom was I think my mom was a college student when she immigrated to the United States. because she got her doctorate here, and then she got her master's and doctorate here, I believe. I just know doctorate for sure was at the University of Nebraska.
How old was your mom when she moved here?
So I mean, from like maybe if assuming that she spent 4 years at the college she did at China, then probably like 20 or 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't your mom go to like one of the big colleges?
Yeah,
in China?
so
like the
you can look,
Ivy League
you
equivalent.
can look it up. It's called the
Whoa.
G7 schools, and like
That's
one of the
insane.
schools that she went to is part of that G7 league.
Oh my
And
gosh.
if I fact checked this because like no, my mom's full of crap. I went to her like staff page on like on Augusta, and it lists the school. I'm like okay, and I copy paste. Yes, this school is part of a G7 school. I'm like wow, that's crazy.
Whoa.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, I like. Sorry, mom. I'm not going to Princeton, even if I tried. Oh man, but like, I sometimes don't realize it, but like my mom is really smart, and I had to make my mom asked me to make a Mother's Day video for her because all the staff has to make some kind
Aw.
of Mother's Day video, and I had to talk about my mom, and I was thinking about my mom, and I was thinking, my mom is really a figure that I should aspire to be, because in China it's so. My mom had like kind of a dark and traumatic past in China. I don't know how much to liberty I should say, but I mean the schools there were violent. There were
Ooh.
gangs there. My mom had to always carry a weapon on herself in China,
Whoa.
and she was from this very low income family.
Mhm.
The dad was a like power like an energy worker, like he worked at the nuclear facilities.
Mhm.
I don't want to say that. It had something to do with power. And the mom was just stay at home, and they had to take care of these two kids in crowded and polluted China.
Yeah.
And at a young age, I think my mom's dad committed suicide because it's so stressful and straining in China to live there. So then it was just my mom, who she didn't have a good relationship with, and my own mom. And against there were so many wishes that my mom went against. There are two I can dominantly think of. One was don't move to the United States and
Oh.
don't marry a white man.
Oh
And
well.
those are two things. Yeah, she was basically like denounced from her mom the minute like she emigrated to the United States. And I think that her mom actually visited her in the United States, but she hated my dad because my dad is white and she wanted her to date a Chinese man.
Yeah.
And so in turn, I think she also thought that I was like an abomination. Because I'm this, this dirty, like you would read in books, like a dirty blood. If you don't marry to this family, or you don't marry like a blood, like the Aryans, then like you're a dirty blood, and that was exactly how I was seen in the eyes of my grandma.
Out of all the
Yeah.
races, I'd say, like being like Asians are like very strict on keeping their bloodline pure, which I hate.
It's not. I mean, it's not like right anyway because it's been proven to you should diversify the gene pool because you see it in history in I think it was somewhere in Ireland where they had this family and they wanted to keep up the family name bloodline. Well, in turn, incest happened.
Yeah.
And
Somehow.
and no, in British royalty, they wanted to keep up the British heritage, and so what happened was you would get these deformed offspring.
Yeah. That's why all Asians look the same though, is because they're keeping the bloodline pure.
Yeah, I was thinking about.
How did we get here from Danish teachers?
I don't
That's
know.
the nature of the
That's the
Roeland
Roeland
the way the
podcast.
podcast goes.
We should probably hit our intermission because it's an hour.
Our
We only got an hour
It's
and
been
30
an hour.
in Megan's busy schedule.
Oh right.
I mean, technically, my mom said an hour 45, but I figured we would go a little bit over. An hour,
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could put an intermission here. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Roeland podcast after a short intermission. We were talking about half bloods and my mom's backstory
it's pretty intense.
for a little bit. Yeah, and the Danish teachers, and then we were trying to figure out how that all connected the dots
Mhm.
from Danish teachers and half bloods and
It
whatever.
sounds like something in
Dirty in
Harry
the
Potter,
bloodline.
you know?
Oh, and the half blood prince in
Yeah,
the
and, like,
book.
Yeah.
Oh, most people have that phase, or a lot of people in the phase where they just read Harry Potter books in middle school. I had that phase
I had
in middle
that
school.
I
phase
had
too.
that in
Yeah.
elementary school.
Really?
Yeah. I read all the books in 3rd grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get some of the as the book, because like the books start very lighthearted and then they get darker and darker. Did you get it by that age, or like?
I think so. I mean, I think like I understood what they're talking about. Maybe I
Yeah.
didn't. Maybe I didn't like get it as in depth
Right.
as like older readers.
Well,
But
I was like kind of disturbed by it because there's this one book in particular where they revive Voldemort, and he's described as like this, like a fetus in the
Oh,
hand of like
yeah, I remember that.
his helper, and then there's like there was sometimes sacrifices and suicides in that too, and then in the last book there was literally like a wizarding battle at the school, and then where they fight
Yeah.
Voldemort there, yeah. So it was like it was very it got super dark. I remember I was reading like Deathly Hallows, and I'm like, man, what happened when Harry was just like eating candy and drinking butterbeer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
J.K. Rowling got pretty intense.
she
Yeah.
did.
Well, now
She did.
Now she's making all her characters.
you
know. Have you heard about this?
No.
Well, now like she keeps on adding. I think it's in order to keep up with the times or something. J.K. Rowling on Twitter all the time, or it used to be a thing where she would say, actually, X was gay, or actually X was Jewish.
I remember
Stuff
that.
like that.
She was
Yeah.
like adding stuff after the books were written.
Like, oh
I was
yeah,
like-
it's definitely possible Hermione was a person of color, and like no,
But she described her in the books as like otherwise, didn't she, or something?
as
I
yeah,
always thought
ghastly
it was
white.
white.
Like she described her skin as ghastly white.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I remember that. It's not like I'm offended that this character could possibly
Yeah.
be gay,
It's
but
just
it's
dumb.
just on like the principle that you're doing
You're
this,
changing it.
changing it for
just to make it appeal to the
a whole
new
new audience,
generation.
right? I mean,
J.K. Rowling.
that's what a lot of
here.
that's what a lot of I feel like that's what a lot of movie creators and writers in general do nowadays is like they create something for the purpose of reaction and principle, like reaction and not principle. And so what you get is something very not genuine. And so like in Onward, I remember when they were talking about having a gay character in that.
Yeah.
Have
you watched
I just
Onward?
watched that like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
I like it.
I thought it was okay.
I get why some people wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on it? Give me the
My thoughts
Megan
were
review.
just like I wanted to like actually because they build up the whole movie like around his dad, and we never even got to like meet the dad.
Yeah.
Like you just see him from a distance, and I wanted to like meet the dad, and that
That's
kind of
true.
annoyed me. So I was like, "What's he like?"
Now that's true. I think there was a bit of a charm in that though.
Also,
I
I
kinda
wanted
liked
to
it.
see. I wanted to learn like afterwards if the kid kept like using his magic powers. Because I
Yeah.
would if I had that stick thing and I was a magician. I'd be like, "Phew."
I think he does because like he had like a show and tell in the class and you're like.
Oh
Yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
right. Okay,
So I think that
You're
kind of
right.
like implied it.
you're right. Okay, my main complaint is that I didn't get to meet the
Get to
dad.
meet the
I
dad.
wanted to meet the dad.
I like the charm of that knowing like you just
You see it like through his perspective.
yeah. I like that. I it would have been I don't know how like emotional I would have gotten if like I saw Chris Pratt talking all emotional.
I
and
would
sad.
definitely cry.
Oh
For sure.
man. Because that was like the one movie where I cried with a group of friends or I teared up. I didn't cry, but I
teared
teared up. Yeah, on Onward.
Aw.
It didn't make me sad at all.
I thought it was like it hit some spots.
I
that
started
was
like
sad.
tearing up when he was like checking off the
Yeah, I heard it.
checklist.
I heard it made like a lot of people cry, but I was just kind of like,
I'm sad it like, well, this was in the midst of Corona and like shutdowns and all that, so it didn't do very well in the box office. But it went like really under, like budget. Like they spend $200 million on every Pixar movie, and that movie had only like 120, 150 million dollars made.
Have they made it up with like Disney Plus?
I don't know. I'd hope so.
I mean, Disney's so rich, like
They can afford it.
Yeah. That movie definitely deserved to succeed, though. I thought.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a good movie, but like,
Just didn't like the ending.
yeah.
I think isn't that what they're doing? I think with there was that one movie, Trolls, that one about music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were exploring the different genres.
Funny, can I side story? One time I was watching that movie with McKenna Party in Avery Plessel in middle school, and McKenna just goes, I hate this movie. It's too colorful. It needs to be more depressing. And me and Avery were just like, okay. Anyway, that's my story.
She'd do well in Denmark.
Yeah, she would.
We're all black.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, but I saw on YouTube where they're having like a home premiere. That's part of like the title.
What?
Like they had the poster on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they had like just on the bottom of the poster it just said home premiere soon. I was like, are they just gonna have you rent the movie now? Or are they not even gonna?
That's lame.
That's weird.
Like, I feel like the whole point of seeing a movie when it first comes out is the
See it in
theater
theaters,
experience.
but
I guess like what else can you do?
Yeah.
you just have this
Like,
movie sitting.
Yeah.
I wonder if they got the reels for that and what they're just like sitting in a box waiting to be used. Trolls.
I don't know. Danish teachers.
Danish teachers. What were you saying about Danish
I
teachers?
don't remember. We were talking about their first. We called them by their first name.
How they were like relaxed more.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dave Henning and Danish teachers. You're gonna love Dave Henning. I mean.
Am I gonna have him? See, I don't like want to take science my senior year, but I think I have to.
I'm not sure. I think it's one of those classes where it's something you don't have to take.
But everyone.
Yeah,
does.
everyone takes it. Yeah.
I hate science.
Really?
I don't like science. I don't think there's a need for it.
Really?
No.
That's a bold claim.
Wow.
I don't take it back. I don't believe in energy. Energy is fake. Like, think about it. Controversial topic.
Wait,
Energy is not real.
Can you
Hold
explain
on,
this?
hold on.
cannot
I'm
use-
interested.
You
I'm
cannot use
interested.
any of your senses to observe energy. It's just made up to make things make sense. Like, think about it. You can't see energy. You can't feel energy.
Well, you can see fire, and that's energy.
Fire is like freaking fire.
Like
that's
Wait.
not
And
energy.
then, like thermal.
So are you
heat,
saying-
fire is like thermal energy, though?
No, but see, you don't have to use thermal energy. You can just say it's fire because of a chemical reaction.
What is?
You don't need the
I'm not-
energy part in it.
I'm not
not
understanding
enlightened.
this hypothesis.
Okay, try and please enlighten me.
Like, okay,
When did you start learning about energy? Or
in
this
like
energy?
8th grade, and it made me so mad because the more I learned about it, the more I was like, this is fake.
This is like going against like thousands of years.
But they don't make sense.
Charles Darwin is shedding a
I've
tear.
talked about this so long. I've talked about this so long with my sister because she's like majoring.
What does your sister think?
And she's in like majoring in molecular biology, and she thinks she's just like, I think she's just disappointed. Probably my whole family at this point, they're just like, she still like doesn't. I don't get it. I don't get it.
What do you not get?
I don't. You can't like okay, energy. Like you can't see it. You're saying you can see fire, but fire is not just energy. And you can't feel it. You can feel heat. That doesn't mean it's energy. That just means like the molecules are moving faster.
I mean, like.
I guess in the sense that everything is a human concept, sure.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
believe
you
that.
agree
I
with me.
I mean, I believe that
Zion
everything.
thinks energy doesn't exist.
Okay, well, I'm not very scientifically intelligent, but I understand where you're coming from. That everything
Thank
is just
you.
kind of like a made up concept.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, time is like a human-made concept.
Yeah. Okay. Time. Oh.
what do you?
Let's
what's your
not
thoughts
talk
on
about time.
No, we
Not
gotta
believe
talk
in
about time. We gotta
No,
believe in
no.
time.
Believe in time.
What's your thoughts on time?
Hold on.
I don't get it. How do you know it's like? How do you know it's like a thing? Like,
well, it's just
like how do you know a second is actually a second? Like,
It's just-
it was just
just
made,
made
up by
up,
this
yeah.
old middle-aged guy.
yeah, it's like
Mathematician.
so
Scientist.
weird. It's so weird.
And then,
And,
I mean,
like,
you
how
could
did
say
they figure out that there were 24 hours in a day?
I mean,
Like, how did
they
they figure
just
that out?
estimated it based on like how long it took Earth to rotate
But
the
like,
full cycle. It's actually not
when they
exactly.
when they first timed it though, because like they didn't, when time was first a thing, they didn't just like they didn't have the technology to record the Earth just like going around. And then like how did they know how many seconds fit into a day? Because like they didn't have technology to do that.
Well, I think that's why like the Mayans made like
Oh,
that's why
the
there's different
Mayans.
calendars. There's like the Mayan
Yeah.
calendar that I don't know if the ink inside one, but I'm just gonna say the ink.
Yeah, they
calendar.
probably did.
The calendar we use now, I was listening about it. It's like one made by Catholic priests, and they figured out it's so unique, and we use it still to this day because it includes like the leap year.
Yeah.
And I was hearing Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about it. It's the most accurate calendar that we have, and I still like time does confuse me. I agree with Megan, just like how someone made up this human concept for a second and it turns into an hour a day, and then we have a whole calendar that tracks that. Because like I remember just as a kid, it snows, and I'm thinking, oh, that's December. But anywhere else in the world, someone could see December just as like, oh, it's July.
Shane Dawson needs to come speak on this a little bit.
I heard about Shane Dawson's like conspiracy videos on his channel. I was friends with this one person. She would talk about all the conspiracy videos she learned on Shane Dawson. What does he cover?
Just like all the conspiracy theories. His latest one, he covered Dasani water.
What's the controversial about Dasani water?
Dasani, you haven't heard about Dasani.
No,
So they put like a bunch of salt in their water so it makes you thirstier. And then also when you open it, it like fizzes. And it's actually made by Coke. And that's why they sell it at like all the football games and like sports events, because it makes you thirstier and then you need to buy more.
Is this really
And they
true?
also put, yes, it's true. You can actually look at the ingredients in it. And then it also has like an ingredient that like, it's just like a chemical that like causes like cancer or something.
Well,
Everything causes cancer.
Everything does cause cancer.
Yeah.
I agree, but if you look at the ingredients in this water, it's just like sources, and then it lists all the springs.
Cancer.
No, it's just like it literally just like says it's taken from this spring. But then if you look at the ingredients on Dasani, it's like water, salt, magnesium sulfate or whatever. I don't know if it's actually magnesium sulfate, but it's like something weird.
That is very that's believable. I was talking to Simon about the same thing you're talking about at McDonald's, where at McDonald's they pump their food with the same chemical or whatever that makes you you eat a burger and you don't feel full and you need to eat more, and it gets you to just eat more at McDonald's and spend more money.
Yeah.
And I believe it because
I could believe that.
I'm sure, yeah.
I don't know what Dairy Queen puts in their stuff.
Oh, I love Dairy Queen. Did you see they released, instead of a chicken strip basket, the toast is replaced with biscuits?
I work there.
No way!
Yeah, I work there.
I love Dairy Queen. I told all my Danish friends, I like literally, there was one day when I just really wanted a chicken strip basket because I get those all the time, and I went around and I showed everybody. I was like, this is what I really want right now. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, this is Dairy Queen. It's really good. And I just want their chicken strip basket, and they're probably like,
They
okay,
probably thought you were psycho. DQ has the best chicken strips.
they
That's
do.
true.
They're so good.
And the gravy. The
Mhm.
gravy. I
Gravy's
love
great.
it. I
It's
love
so
it.
good.
Roel was telling me about
Any deep dark secrets, Dairy Queen secrets that you can release?
Dairy Queen's burgers when they're frozen look really gross.
No way, their burgers are frozen.
Yeah. I mean, like they look like waffles.
Really?
It looks gross.
Yikes.
When I first saw that, they were like, "Hey, Will, can you grab the burger box? Because like they're all in a box." And like, yeah, sure. And then I'm like, "Where are the burgers, manager?" He points towards that. I'm like,
Those are
those are waffles, right?
Do you work at the old one or the new one?
I work at the new one. Who works at the old one?
I don't know.
Dude, if you work at the old
Hey
one.
man, who made it to the Dairy
I
Queen
do
convention?
think that the food at the
Yeah.
old Dairy Queen is better. Controversial statement.
I
like
agree.
the food at the old one better.
That's my family has this belief, and I would only go to the old Dairy Queen, but now I go to the new Dairy Queen just because.
I like the
Roeland,
people who work at the new one. You
Yeah.
guys seem like a lit squad. Like,
We're a weird squad. We used to have so many cheerleaders, but they all like quit.
no way they did. Oh, that's
The
Oh.
only cheerleaders there are Cherie, Emma.
I remember all the
Taylor
cheerleaders
Oblinger.
worked there because like our coach owned the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
something.
Yeah. And then Devin Smith used to work there, but I think he's gonna quit soon.
Oh
Really?
no.
Yeah, which kind of makes me
Why?
sad. So now like we have Dylan, Izzy, me,
Yeah, but it's like a squad.
Jason Harris.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Jason Harris is?
No.
Is he new? Relatively.
Wait, you don't know who Jason Harris
No, I
is?
do. But I'm just thinking
he
of
came in like freshman year.
What?
Actually, I don't
Oh yeah,
know.
no, he did come freshman year, because I remember my freshman year, every new freshman had to go into this room sometime during the school year,
Mhm.
and we all like introduced each other. And Jason Harris was there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me, Jason Harris, Maya Moran, and a couple other kids.
Oh,
don't
I remember you telling me
Yeah.
about this. Yeah.
It was in this like conference room in the library, and it
Mhm.
was like Mrs. Prasovsky and Post were there. It was being a. I don't want to I don't want to touch too much based on it, but I feel like I have to eventually conform to it. Freshman year was very like for me it was super scary because I mean I was going to Beatrice where I was under the assumption that like it was so big and it
Yeah.
was so super intimidating and everyone like has this like culture about them. So I was already had that with my parent like what my parents implanted in my head. And I remember like after the freshman orientation, I was like so scared I made the wrong choice because I was meeting all these people
Mhm.
for like the first time in what seemed like forever.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, oh God, I hope I didn't like make any bad impressions and
Yeah.
anything. But I will say what helped a lot was doing like an extracurricular like band because I
Mhm.
eventually
sure.
just meet like
You meet so many
people,
like that.
yeah, and you're with them in all the band trips and like that's how I met Hunter. I remember the first thing I met about Hunter. You know, he was French horn at the time, and he was like, "Hey, have you heard about Space Unicorn?" And I was like, "No, yeah, I heard about Space Unicorn," and he popped it up on his phone, and we were watching Space Unicorn like at this one competition. I thought, this guy seems okay, I guess. I mean,
This is the
Little-
this is the first time you've seen him,
first interaction with Hunter Weary.
and he just goes like, "You ever heard of
Space Unicorn. Yeah, it's something like in middle school. And that was like the one thing that tied me back with Lewiston for a long time because Space Unicorn was kind of the meme at
I've
Lewiston.
never heard of Space
Oh
Unicorn.
my God.
Like the song?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
know
I
what
have
you're
not
talking
heard
about.
of this.
It goes like Space Unicorn flying in the sky. It's like this. It's it's
I
a
made
childish song.
I made like video star videos to that in 5th grade with like Emma Lenners. I think.
That was the middle school thing.
You and Emma Leonard were really good friends.
Oh, we were tight. Yeah,
Are you guys still tight?
we're like still friends.
Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to like meet up with any of your friends here?
Well,
Those are
Sarah
my points.
Price came over the other day, and we recorded our like show choir audition video dance
All
together.
right.
Oh.
And I like felt bad because I didn't learn any of it. I mean, that was just like maybe a week after I'd gotten back, and I
Mhm.
just still
Right.
felt like America. So I didn't want to do anything, and I didn't like. I learned all the dance and like, yeah. So she came over and we recorded the dance.
Nice.
And then I got food at Shanghai the other day, and Avery was working. And then like I've seen Whitney a couple times because she's my neighbor.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And then the other day, for some reason, Colt was in Whitney's driveway, so I was like, "Hey, Colt." And then I went over and I
Cool.
talked with them a little bit, but that was like, I haven't actually. Sarah's the only person who I've actually like seen.
Has everyone
Mhm.
else just been kind of locked in?
Yeah, I guess so. Also, like the first 2 weeks, I'm supposed to stay home and stuff.
All right.
And I was like, I want to see people, but also just in case I do have corona, like that could be bad if I just decided I'm just gonna see my friends. So I just stayed home, and then this lady named Jackie called me every other day and was like, "Hi Megan, do you have a temperature today? Are you having a fever?" And I was like, "Nope." And she was like, "Okay."
When did your
So-
2 weeks end?
I don't. Maybe on like the 9th or something.
Alright, that's 5 days from here, I think.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Roel's
I
like,
think- I think it's-
Hey, I got a temperature.
Oh, I agree. I have shortness of breath.
I was telling a story about to Roel. There was this guy in Thailand, or some like Asian country. I think it was Thailand, and he was getting on a subway, and he was in the he was dying, like actually minutes away from dying. And before he got on the subway, he spit like threw a loogie at this guy's back of the guy's head, and he got into the subway, sat down, threw up, and then died. And so, and they were tracking down the guy that had this loogie on him, but they can't find him. So there's this unknown person in Thailand who potentially has corona.
Why does nobody else in Thailand have corona?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's more, but like that would be another confirmed case, you
okay.
know.
Mhm.
I mean, on top of this one guy who just died in the subway, and there was like someone who took a picture of it. I mean, it was censored on the news article. It was on Snapchat, but I was like, it was so gross.
Why did he spit a loogie at him?
I don't know. Maybe he was disgruntled
I
with
don't
his
like
life.
the word loogie, please.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
is
Um,
that's like moist.
See, moist doesn't bother me anymore.
Moist doesn't bother
'cause
me.
The word damp kind of bothers me. Though.
Damp?
Damp, yeah.
It's always something with like something that's wet.
Wet,
Is
yeah.
Yeah.
what I'm realizing.
I don't know, the word
It's
moist.
probably for other purposes, you know.
Hmm.
That's why it's disturbing.
Yeah. I swear I won't say the L word anymore.
The L word.
Great.
We had, oh gosh, we had, I don't know if we should mention about Holly, the last podcast.
Mhm.
We had to explicitly cut something
Oh,
that
yes,
she said.
yes.
Yeah, because
Wait,
she was,
can you say it off camera really quick?
and so,
And then like a few days after, she like typed into the podcast chat, "Hey, could you guys cut that out?"
well, she was talking about like, oh, she was getting heated because there were people in student council that she weren't particularly fond of,
Okay.
and so Holly got very passionate and heated and said
Yeah.
a bad
It
word.
just let slip.
Dang, Holly Fisher.
Holly Fisher had a hot take about you, by the way.
No.
Or
really.
no, it wasn't.
It
We
was
had a
us,
hot take.
and
Yeah,
then
we
she
had a hot
agreed with
take.
us.
Yeah, she
What
agreed with
was
you.
it?
It was that homecoming queen.
Hmm.
Yeah, for senior year.
No way.
Yeah,
What?
I think so.
Yeah, but we're not. The only thing we weren't sure about was the. I mean, we've had thoughts, but nothing set in stone about King.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
we were.
thanks, guys.
Yeah, no
We
problem.
endorse
But
you
I mean,
for
I
Queen.
feel like I feel like I've been gone for a year, so maybe like people don't know me.
Well, see, we
anymore.
thought that's what would
I
help
think
you
now
because
it's like you're
Really?
coming back all of a sudden. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, it's Megan.
there's this hype party. There's a student assembly.
Megan,
Guys, Megan's back! Yeah! Raise the roof.
I
That's
heard
my
that,
theory.
sometimes in like concert choir, Maya would be taking roll call, and then he'd ask if anybody was gone, and then some people would be like, Megan. I don't know if that's true.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Sarah Price and Jordan Moshman said that every day, but you might not have heard that because like,
I probably did. Yeah, because it's just so.
I'm in the
like,
very
or
back.
maybe they just lied to me and they're like, what could we say to Megan to make her feel really good right now?
There's no Megan here. Jordan and Sarah. Oh man. No. What was funny was that when that show choir list came out, it was like Megan. If she's not in
He was
Denmark,
so
it was like-
passive aggressive about it.
How did that process go?
With K. Mai himself,
Yeah.
K. Mai the choir guy. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad on camera.
Again, we could edit out
You
whatever.
can edit out. I mean, you can put some of it in. Well, he was not. He was like, and then he was
Oh,
like,
God.
and he was like,
What?
and he just like,
That's-
he was just like, while I was in Denmark, and he was like, I hope you're just like really having like this corona isn't being too stressed for you or anything, and that you're not going too crazy, and like, don't worry, like this will all pass with some time. And it was like
Aw,
a really nice
that's
email.
nice.
It was really nice, yeah.
Maybe that cancels it out.
Yeah.
The negative.
There's a yin and a yang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
of the-
Maybe he like knew the corona was coming, and he was just
He
trying to
knew.
warn you.
He was trying to warn me. He's like, Megan, don't
Are you saying that Mr. Meyer had insider intel
Yeah,
about
maybe.
the coronavirus?
Maybe like the Chinese government like messaged them
Oh.
up like, "Hey, Maya, we're gonna make a virus. We want you to warn
Oh,
people
okay.
about it."
Also, one time he was just like, I was just like, for some reason, I think I was doing my hair in the band room mirror. Cause I just like always did that. I don't know why. I just did my hair there. And he
Kelly
was-
Meyer, or not Kelly, Connor Kelly always did that.
Yeah, it's some good lighting. I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty good. And you know, Kermine the choir guy came up and he was like, Megan, you've been doing like a really good job dancing. And I was like, oh, thank you. And he's like, it's too bad you won't be here next year. And I was like,
Oh gosh.
Oh.
I will
As
say
Okay.
Myra has a way of being passive aggressive, which is
Yeah.
kind of entertaining sometimes.
yeah. Only if is the picture of him still going like this?
It's
Yes.
still up.
Yes,
It's
it's
still
still
up to
up
this
there.
day. That's my two immortalizations of the Atchis High School that I
That
partake
can
in.
never come down. Oh my
I
Even
hope
when
it
there's
never
someone
does.
new. Oh man.
Wait,
'cause-
we only have like 8 minutes left. We need to make it like really good, really controversial.
All right. What's
Give-
a very
Like,
controversial
Okay.
topic?
Controversial.
oh, I mean, you don't believe in energy. You don't believe in time.
Yeah.
Give us another Megan.
What else don't I
Conspiracy.
believe in? What's one of my conspiracies? Well, okay, the Earth might be flat.
Okay,
I know-
wait, hold on.
I know it might sound a little crazy, but all I'm saying is I've flown a lot recently. I look at the
Okay.
airplane, there's no curve. No curve.
See, I disagree with that. Like, I see like a kind of a
I don't
curvature when
see
Yeah,
I
I
fly.
see it too.
And the other thing is like, I've never been in space, so I'm not educated enough to say, like, the Earth is round until I've seen it for myself.
You seem like a person who's very skeptical.
I
on
am pretty
things.
skeptical, and I mean,
Are
I
you the-
just think, like, I'm not gonna, like, you have to stay open-minded. Like, is the Earth probably round? Yes, it's probably round, but I'm not going to deny that there's a chance that it might be flat.
I hope Neil deGrasse Tyson sees this and he like types up a meme paragraph on you.
I also told people this in Denmark, and I think at that was like pretty close to when I arrived there, and I think
Oh,
Not
no.
a good person.
Hi, Megan. I will be your
I'm
host.
thinking the Earth is flat.
They probably thought like all Americans were like that.
I think they probably thought I was so dumb.
Oh no.
I
Hi,
think
look
they were
at-
probably. I think they were also pretty surprised that I was American and I wasn't like super fat, because the way the media shows it, it's like, yeah, America's like really fat and like
Mm-hmm.
everybody there is super dumb. And I mean, they watch like the high school movies and then they get in mind of like the cliques and stuff,
Mhm.
and they were just like confused that I was both a cheerleader and that I was in band, and I was like, well, it's like not really a big thing. Like,
Yeah.
you can be in both. It's not like the movies where, like, you know, and yeah, also just that I wasn't fat.
Oh my god. Like, wow.
Maybe I am. I don't know.
American, not fat.
I've never seen one of those.
I would not believe my eyes. Have you seen those TikTok videos where it's like, I
You
would not believe you,
your eyes.
and then it like gets all distorted.
My sister
Yeah.
got so mad because I kept watching those TikToks, and she was like, Megan, shut it off. And I was like, no, they're too good.
Oh, it's like Max Meyer at night. You'll,
Oh my
you'll be,
gosh,
you'll
I
be,
hated
you'll be
that.
trying to sleep at Roel's basement at like probably like 3 a.m. or
Yes.
2 a.m.
Yes.
And then you'll just be laying there, and then you hear Renegade play like as loud as possible. Renegade, Renegade. Nah, it'll be the same snap playing over and over for some
And,
reason.
like,
Like,
we're trying to watch a movie sometimes, and like Max will be like, Renegade.
Does Max Meyer know the Renegade?
I don't.
Wait, do you
Totally.
guys know the Renegade?
I
do
don't.
not.
I
Do you
don't.
know it? Can
I
you teach
know it.
us
I can teach you.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, teach us it
So,
right
well,
now.
the first one is you do the whoa, you know.
Okay, this is gonna be the last 5
But
minutes.
this
of
isn't
it.
like the original version, because you know Charlie D'Amelio made it her own thing.
Mhm.
I know Charlie
I know
D'Amelio's version, so I'm sorry
Okay.
I don't know the OG. But you do like the whoa.
Should we stand up and try it out?
How all out are we going?
I want to go all out.
Roel's
Okay,
going
okay,
all
sure.
out.
I
Are
want to
we-
go all out.
are we-
Okay, okay.
My
So-
parents would be so proud that this is what I'm doing
Do you
right
have a
now.
fanny pack?
That's
sick.
No.
That's sick.
Should I show it?
Yes.
All right.
Drop the-
All like Danish girls have like bags like this, so I caved in and I got one.
I mean,
I always thought fanny packs
I
were
like
sick.
fanny packs.
Yeah.
I like fanny
Can you
packs.
check how much space we have, like on the camera, like how wide we
one
can
is it?
get?
Okay, yeah.
All right, we have 4 minutes.
If we go,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
over, I'll risk making my parents mad.
Okay.
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 So we're just gonna start out with a whoa, and then you clap, and then you do like a weird, like figure 8, like down, and then you do like a worm or whatever, and then you go like this, and then you clap, and then it's like, wait, renegade, renegade, renegade.
It's so.
This is called the renegade.
This is. No,
Okay.
I see it though. It's just like. I've never watched the Renegade TikTok.
Okay, so
honestly.
can you do it in just full motion?
I can't do this on camera. It's
Not a
gonna ruin
TikTok
my
star.
future, like when people are trying to employ me and then they find this video of me and I'm like,
Renegade.
like we don't want her.
Renegade,
Renegade. Look, Mom, I'm doing. The only TikToks of Renegade I see is just like, hey, Mom, look, I'm doing Renegade. I've never seen it seriously done.
I'm a savage.
What?
Have you seen that dance? I'm not gonna do it, but
Well, I've done
Okay.
the Renegade.
Well, I didn't think
Yeah,
I didn't think we did the
attempted
whole
to do
thing.
renegade. I could teach you some words in Danish. That could be pretty.
Wasn't there a thing where like, we had a thing about sausage. Like I was supposed to learn. Well, what is Danish for sausage?
Pusse.
Pølser, right?
Pusse.
Pølser. Sir. Poser.
I
Your
feel like
choice.
you're saying it.
I mean, it sounds very American when you say
Mhm.
it. It also probably sounds American when I say it, but like it sounds a little bit better because like I've lived.
Wow, thanks, Megan.
Wow.
I'm so offended. Okay, say a sentence in Danish,
Wait,
and we'll have
what do
to.
you want me to say?
It can be anything.
Oh.
You could be saying "I'm an idiot," and we could reply with "I am an idiot."
Okay, jeg er en idiot.
Excuse me? Can you repeat
I
that?
just said I am an idiot in Danish.
Repeat that,
Okay.
please.
Jeg
Jeg
er
What?
what?
er
Yeah.
en
En
idiot.
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 I an idiot.
What else could be fun?
What would be? Is there a translation for Roeland in Danish?
No, that'll just be Roeland.
Roeland.
Yeah. Although there is like a name like Roel.
Yeah,
that's really
Roeland.
close.
Yeah,
Really?
And
in some Europe, because every time we
Yeah.
do the hashtag Roeland, there's like
Uh-huh.
some kid and
yeah,
like double, the double
some-
thumbs up.
some-
And he's
I
from
don't know
Europe.
what nationality
Yeah,
it is, but
I don't know.
do you want to, Megan? Do you want to? By the way, I don't know if we have enough time for this, but at the end of the podcast, the guest gets to plug anything.
Oh,
They
right.
get to like give a shout out
Yeah.
to anyone or anything.
Anyone.
Yes.
Like a shout. Like, give me some examples.
I mean, like
Holly
gave
just
a
shout out to
like, all the
America.
seniors, and you can just like
Connor did a
Say,
shout
like-
out to his SoundCloud.
yeah, or say like
So-
support the BHS cheerleaders or something. You know.
I could give a shout out to Denmark.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
I don't know what else.
Did you-
We love you, Denmark.
We love you,
Yes.
Denmark. Sorry to the Denmark viewers that the Danish viewers.
Oh, also, could we just ask the viewers? I don't know if you guys want to do this. We could make a special episode where Ty and Roel themselves taste test Danish
Yes.
candy. And let me tell
I'd
you,
love to
I have
do
some
that.
good stuff, and I have a lot of it.
Okay.
So
That'd make a
Alright.
good video for the
Yeah,
YouTube channel.
I think it'd be pretty entertaining.
We could start
So-
Roeland Eats.
Roel
Okay.
eats. Yes.
It's the newest logo is gonna be a hamburger with RNL and like on it.
Just leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below if you want to see that.
Hit that bell.
Hit that
that bell.
notification
Slap
bell.
that bell.
Smack it.
Roeland conspiracies coming out. We'll be talking about
Energy
Roland
no
Conspiracies.
energy.
Conspiracies, Roland Conspiracies is coming out. Roland Eats coming out, and I would like to give a shout out to Denmark right now.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Thank you so much for listening
you
to the
for
Roeland
watching,
podcast.
And like
Megan.
we've already.
Oh,
What?
Could you say this has been the Roeland podcast? Good night, viewers.
Oh.
in Danish.
De har vel den Roeland podcast. What am I supposed to say now?
good night. Thank
Good
you
night.
for watching. Good night.
Tak for at se den her video, og good night. Good night. Good night.
That's good.
That's good.
Good night.
Good night.